right, we back again. This is the Rewind Podcast. Last week had my homie A Dizzle on there. We did Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. Appreciate everybody out there listening to that. Got a lot of positive feedback on that as well. But back again, we got Big Hunt back again, and we got Kelz back again. You can listen to Kelz on the Biggie Pod, and you can listen to Big Hunt twice, once on the Wu-Tang and the Dr. Dre Chronic Pod, so y'all can go back and listen to that. So the reason I chose this CD for you two guys and another person that's supposed to be here, but we'll talk about him later. Mobb Deep, their second album, Infamous, came out in 1995. Now I know me and Kelz have a different opinion of Mobb Deep than my brother and you, Hunt, about Mobb Deep. So, until now, everything on the pod has been peaches and cream. You know what I'm saying? It's been something that everybody could agree with. Every person I've had on the pod, I kind of like almost handpicked them because I knew they love that CD and I love the CD, and we could just talk about how great the CD is. This is definitely going to be the first CD that we reviewed that has some controversy, that some different opinions on it. So it's Mobb Deep, the Infamous album, their second album, dropped in 95. Big Hunt, I know you did your homework. What other albums came out in 95?
Man, 95. So you got Me Against the World by Tupac. You got Liquid Swords, Only Built for Cuban Links. Soul Food by Goody Mob. East 1999 by Bone Thugs and Harmony. Eight Ball and MJG, Sitting on Top of the World. And the Friday soundtrack came out. I wanted to highlight some stuff real quick. The highlights from 95 was Friday came out. Of course, man, Ice Cube is like larger than life, man. He came out with the Friday soundtrack. Tupac got out of jail in October 95. And my personal highlight, you know what? This is what I kept thinking about when I thought about 95, the summer. Biggie came out 94, but Biggie had these two songs that in my eyes solidified him. Who Shot You came out in February of 95, and then Can't You See came out, I think, the next month. And when I heard those two songs, I was like, wow. And back then, songs lasted months. Biggie kind of ran the summer with them two songs, man. Then the Wu-Tang, Liquid Swords, Dirty, Wu-Tang was bubbling, and then here comes the Mob.
The other thing that dropped, I think Junior Mafia dropped that year too.
Yes, you're right. I think so too.
Yeah, because that was Rub Your Titties If You Love Big Pop. Yeah. Club song all day.
Sure. Also, Dog Pound, Dog Food dropped in 95. Old Dirty Return to the 36 Chambers dropped. So Short dropped, like, I don't know what number album that was, but Cocktail that dropped.
It's Cocktail.
That dropped also in 95. So, where were you guys at? Go ahead.
E42.
Which one?
In a major way.
With the watch. The one with the watch.
I know what you're talking
about. In a major way. Yeah, in a major way.
Yeah.
So where were y'all?
Where were we?
Yeah, 95.
Go ahead, Kel.
95. I was in college. I think I was probably a junior at that point, or my third year, because I was on that 5-year plan. So so that was 95. I was living in my same apartment with my three homies. I was finally playing some ball at this point. I was traveling and was finally on the travel team, so I couldn't find CDs because that's how I found the Biggie Hunt. Because I didn't travel. My homeboy Dale was traveling, and then and so I just went over his house and stole that CD and listened to it. But 95, man, like I remember who actually hit me to this. It was my guy Rick, who when I used to live on 83rd. He was the one who hit me to Mobb Deep. But the sad thing is, man, I hate to say, man, I'm gonna sound like a hater. I didn't like the initial single.
What is up with you in these first singles, man?
I don't know.
Which was what? Kelly
Shook Ones.
Shook Ones.
Gotcha.
Shook Ones too, yeah.
One that brought Hennessy to the beat.
That is in my notes.
Got you.
Yeah. Where was you in 95, Hunt?
So 95, it's a split year for me because I graduated out of high school in 94, but I took a year off and I was going to go to school in August 95. So I was just working a regular job, and then in August I left for Arizona to play football. So the Mobb came out, I think. What was the month that it came out? April. So I remember when I got to Arizona, I had a roommate from Youngstown. He didn't make the team, and he had the CD, and he was just playing the CD, but nothing jumped out on me on this CD, because when you got a roommate, you got your stuff, they got their stuff, so you play it at different times. There was a lot of down south guys on our team, so they was heavy on the 8-ball MJG and stuff like that, so you kind of had to pick and choose what you're going to bring, what you have, what was going to identify you as a Cleveland guy, because everyone's from down south or the West Coast. I was the only one from up here in Cleveland. So I played a lot of Cuban Link that year. Dirty, I did play some 8-ball MJG and some older stuff, but he was playing that Mobb Deep a lot, but nothing jumped out at me just yet, man.
So I was a sophomore at high school in Heights, and the only song that I knew about with Mobb Deep, I got introduced to Mobb Deep like basically everybody else did through Rap City. I saw Shook One's video.
Okay.
And we could talk about that more when we talk about the actual breakdown of the song, but like that video like stood out. It wasn't like anything we ever seen before, and not like in a good way. It was like it wasn't like how, all right, you remember Busta Rhymes video, Put Your Hands on My Eyes and See. You remember Missy Elliott when she in the trash bag. Like, that's memorable because it's like, oh wow, it stands out. That's something visually I've never seen before. For Shook Ones, it really looked like some shit that we seen growing up in Cleveland, and niggas just held a candle for her. Like, you got them riding down the street, rapping out the window. I'm like, what is this? And what type of ghetto shit is this? But, the beat, for me, the beat was so catchy. That's what was like, all right, I could fuck with this. But I can honestly say I've never listened to the whole album from track 1 to the end of it before doing this Rewind podcast. Before, I don't even think, matter of fact, I've never owned this CD. I own Hell on Earth and Murder Music. So I've never owned this CD, but I've heard a lot of the songs before. So this was like first time listening to it from front to back several times. Hunt, you said you listened to this 6 times?
6 times this week. So when I'm working out, it's easy because I either I'm going to go run or I'm going to work out. So that's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I listened to it like 6 times this week. And I'm like you. I bought it in 96. I bought it in 96. A friend of mine named Trip Jones used to always play it in Arizona as well. And he used to play it. I liked Eye for an Eye before we get to that. I like that song. But nothing ever really jumped out. So in 96, when I bought the CD, I was listening to it and I was just waiting to bite on something. I never got out of it. But I was like, and I always say this, Kelly. I say, for those who don't know, Kelly and I are also good friends too. I always say, an artist-produced group, I'm gonna give them extra credit. I'm gonna give them because they have the same distinct sound. You know what I mean? If you have a person in the group who does the production, man, like I give those kind of groups a lot of credit, and I want to all right, let me give this group a chance. So
I can dig that. So before we start really digging into it, man, their first album, Juvenile Hell. Have y'all ever heard it? Have you ever heard it?
No.
I've heard it.
I heard it sounded different than I heard that it was more, we'll say, Das Effectsy, like hippity hoppy, and then they came very street on this one from what I've heard.
Yeah, it still had that street appeal. It was like more along the lines of the youngsters.
Okay.
So like, what we got to remember about them when they dropped that album, they were like 16 years old when that album dropped. But I remember I didn't hear it until I heard Hell on Earth. So this is years and years and years afterwards. So like I'm really digging Hell on Earth. So I'm like, oh, they had another album before the Infamous. Let me check out this. It was terrible, but I looked at some of the track listing now, and I'm looking at the production. Like Premier did some beats on there. Large Professor did some beats on there as well. I watched the YouTube video from one of the songs. They walking around like these pitchfork axe type of things. It was just like, what is this? They were I can't remember exactly which label they were signed to, but they were signed to a major.
They were on UMG because I just pulled it up.
Okay.
Surprisingly, man, on Apple Music it has a lot of likes.
Okay.
Well,
I saw Havoc. I just saw Havoc talk about this on Vlad, man. He said like they got some support from some good producers and stuff, but I thought he said 4th and Broadway they were on, the one with Sir Mix-a-Lot, but it might have been a joint venture. You know how that stuff always goes. So he said it didn't do well, so they got dropped by that label. So he said when you get dropped, well, man, we're done with this music thing. He said, but him and Prodigy was like, nah, man, we're going to go hard. And you know what, man, we're going to just lean on our stuff. And that's when they met. They got a call from Steve Rifkin at Loud. It was like, look, I got a Wu-Tang. I got a group called Wu-Tang who Havoc said they didn't know who they were. He's like, look, man, we want to sign you. And they were like, well, heck yeah, this is a second chance. Man, that Steve Rifkin dude, man, he gave a lot of people—he saw a lot of people's visions, man.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up the whole Loud record situation, because if they were going back to a major label, they would have got, in my opinion, more of the same. They wouldn't have been able to do their thing. They wouldn't have been able to produce their own beats and do it the way that they saw fit. Same way the Wu-Tang Clan with RZA, he ran things how he saw fit and made the beats how he saw fit. And Rifkin and Loud got behind him, and they just pushed whatever vision they wanted. So that's like one of those big situations where you can definitely capitalize on being on an independent label like Loud Records back in the days.
Yeah.
I've seen some interviews with Rifkin, man, and they're really good. And he always talks about how he talked about how he gave everybody in Wu-Tang those individual deals so they could do stuff. And he, like you said, he sounded like a real visionary guy when it came to what he was doing at the time, man. But he gave us a lot of good music, and that's probably how you ended up with those cameos on this album too.
Yeah, exactly. So
So before we jump into track by track breakdown of the album, man, we want to make sure we say this: R.I.P. to Prodigy. The views on these albums is just music. For anybody to get their panties in a bunch, man, it's just music, man. We reviewing some classic hip hop, especially from the '90s, and seeing if it stands the test of time. And some people's views may have changed over the years. Some people's views may stay the same. Some people may think it's dope. Some people may think it's trash. We just reviewing the album, just seeing how it goes and having some good times, man. So with that said, let's jump into the first track, Start of the End. Hunt, you up.
Start of the end. Hey, man, listen. The start of your end, listen, man. They wanted to set a tone. Listen, man. We will kill you, shoot you, do whatever we gotta do. That's what this CD is about, dude. It's about QB. Hey, man, we are not to be messed with, man. We are QB Mobb deep, man. We roll 30 deep. We're in a tunnel. We got razors in our mouth. We will slash you, dude. Don't try it, man. That's what I took from this song. It started off highly aggressive, man.
Right.
For me, it's an okay song. You know what I mean? I was just like, dude, like, this is the start of your end. Like, hey, man, these dudes are really with it, man. Like so.
I felt the exact same way, Hunt. I just thought, like, yo, this is low energy. This is This is a lot of weed smoke. This is a lot of dudes hanging out on the corner. This is a lot of dudes like just hanging out in front of the light post all time of day, all night, doing God knows what. And this album really takes you there. Like, and that's what a good album does. It takes you to where these people are from. And some other albums that I got lined up that I already started listening to, you can see like a clear decline in that when albums like start transitioning from the 90s to the 2000s. But with this song right here is exactly what you said. Like it's just dark and grimy. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Can I say something before Kelly jumps in? Also, I was wondering were you guys gonna bring this up with Biggie. So from Biggie to Mobb Deep. I would always say, like, before Biggie, you know, New York rap was New York, but when Biggie came, it was like, oh, well, hold on, this is a gangster rapper here.
Yeah.
And then when Mobb Deep came, this was like, oh, New York is really. They kind of erased the blur of gangster rapper. It was kind of like, well, everybody's on it now. You know, everyone's kind of a thug now. Everyone's kind of a gangster. These dudes was gangster.
Very. Yeah. We talked about that when we broke down the Biggie joint. Like everything that people see Biggie as now, you know what I'm saying, the Don, he was not that on Ready to Die. He was a street dude. And and this is like the next step to it.
Right. Like because it was kind of like I said on the last one. Big started that dark rap. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is it. This is like, I'll shoot you in the face. Bye-bye. That type of you know what I mean? Like that's exactly what this is. And the thing is, I think these guys had a good 3 CD run when you take this and the next 2. And if you notice, the very first song on all these CDs is like, bye-bye, we here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a line that Prodigy says. He says, what the hell did he say? It's me, it's the nigga in me, accompanied by the cognac. Ask around, don't fuck around with the mob. We back. Like,
yeah.
Like the dude's a good rapper, man. That was what was so good about these guys, man, is that you had the production and you had the rapper, and they didn't mix it up. Where you have those groups where you had that other guy who try to rap, but he's really a producer, i.e. Dr. Dre on 100 miles in front of You know what I mean? Where Jay's just yelling. Like it's kind of like I forgot to take out the trash if my dad was yelling at me.
Oh my God.
They stay in the lane.
So now we on to one of many interludes. Now this interlude right here, I'm listening to Prodigy talk. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yo, this interlude is the reason why the hip hop police was invented. This interlude right here. Nigga, you is out your mind, man. This is why. And then obviously the Keith Murray diss. Like,
I never figured that out.
Yeah.
When you talking about the space stuff.
Space stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Kay. Like when I heard this interlude, I was like, gee, hold on. Number one, it's an intermission, it says. Like, I'm like, the second song? Like, he wanted to get to this right away.
We needed a break.
He wanted to get to this. Yeah, he wanted to get to this right away. He wanted to let niggas know, look, nigga, I'm gonna stab you. I will listen, man. I'm like, dude, but when you listen to it, man, it sounds like he's just trying to be a little just too tough, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, jeez, man. Like, and also, I read the Prodigy book about 7 years ago, and he talks about that Keith Murray incident. Y'all got to read the book, man, because I'm just real. He says they had left. I think it was a tunnel of the club, and they agreed to go around this corner and fight. And then he was like, "Who you gonna? I can't wait to see Murray's face when I squeeze these bullets at him." but Murray offs him in his face. Yeah, but you gotta read the book, man. But that interlude, man. I mean that intermission, man. What'd you think of it, Kelly? Man?
You know, it was super New York because
Yeah.
I had a guy that went to school with me freshman year that was from the projects of Orange, and he talked just like this. Remember, it starts
Okay.
off, yeah. Hold the fuck up. We're gonna take this little intermission. This is what the fuck I gotta say.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly how that thing started. I'm reading it verbatim, man. That's exactly what it says, man. Yeah. Hold the fuck up. We're gonna take a little intermission. Listen to what the fuck I gotta say. You know.
4 minutes and 30 seconds into the album.
But have y'all heard at the very, very end one of the dudes say thuggish, ruggish? They talk about Bone at the very end
Yeah.
too.
Really, I didn't
Yeah,
catch that.
so yeah, at the very end he's like thuggish, ruggish. I'm like, okay, they did some Bones. So I mean, I wonder why he had a thing with Murray, or because he could have went big. He said it was kind of about Murray, but you know, Redman too talked that space stuff and getting
Yeah.
high. So I was wondering. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. So then we into where, in my opinion, where the album gets real good. Like this run right here really makes the album. Survival of the
Yeah.
Fit. High
Yeah.
energy. I mean, I always love this record. I go back and forth between this and Shook Ones being my favorite song on the album.
I could agree. Yeah.
A thing that stands out, he says something about vodka and milk. Is that a thing?
Yeah, he does.
No, not where I'm from. You don't
I think
vodka
he.
with milk.
I think he said. I think he was saying it like it's off like vodka milk. I'm not sure. I gotta hear it again though. That's what I was taking.
Is that like a
He
oil and
definitely
vinegar
said it.
type of situation? Yeah, I heard vodka and milk. I'm like, nigga, that sound like you gonna have the shits.
Right.
Yeah.
My tolerant man says no. but you know, I really wasn't into this song, man. Like this is what you know. It's funny when I listen to this now, man. It's a lot of good. It's still some good. It's some bad, and it's just some blah.
Yeah.
And for me, this is it in the blah category.
Really?
No.
Wow.
When we'll talk about what we really love later. But when I listened to this back in '95, my favorite song now, when I listen in 2020, is one of my least favorites. And I like some other stuff more now from listening to it. Because like I said, I've always been a Mobb Deep guy. This is one of my lesser favorite CDs. When you take when I feel like they have a life of 3 CDs, really. And but yeah, like this was just something that I put in it's all right. I knew a lot of dudes liked it, but like I said, I initially didn't like this, and I never liked this. I initially didn't like Shook Ones. I like that now, but yeah, kind of like
For me, Survival of the Fittest, it's almost like their high energy album, high energy song on the album, because they're super monotone when they rap. And I mean, this actually gives them some energy in it. It has sound effects in it, or whatever the sample was. I'm sure, Hunt, you probably know. But that sample.
I didn't look for the. I didn't look at the.
I don't know what
sample
that is, but this whatever sample Havoc used for that, he freaked it for sure.
This is what I noticed going into this song, man. So you know, I'm like real big on production and stuff like that. So Compton's Most Wanted, NWA, Public Enemy. When the chorus come on some of those songs, there was this shift that came from Wu-Tang to Mobb Deep, where there wasn't really much more any choruses. And if it's going to be a chorus, it was like it was going to be a chanting. Strong survives of the fittest, or an eye for an eye. And I was like, man, like now we just talking over the chorus and stuff like that. So they kind of like solidified that in my mind. Well, this is the way that they have went with a lot of New York rap and everything. But I like this song. I never heard this was like a very, very different sample that he used. You know what I mean? By
Sky,
this time,
it's a 76 song Skylark by Barry Harrison Trio.
okay. This is another one of those CDs where when you play it, for me, nothing was familiar. There wasn't any Parliament, more
Right.
bounce. It was very, very different. But I give Survival of the Fittest a thumbs up. Yeah.
So then, I'm calling it now. I know this is probably Hunt's favorite song.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
yeah,
Ray sets it off. Ray sets it off. Nas sets it off too, even though I know, no, the hater ain't on here. Maine ain't on here. The Nas hater ain't on here. But Nas and Ray really set this record off. Hunt, where was you at with it?
So, like I said, my friend Trip Jones would always play the CD. Nothing jumped out, but boom, this song jumped out to me. So, on Nas' verse, if you ask me, here's the birth, because Illmatic already came out. It was written, didn't come out yet. But to me, I think this was the birth of Nas Escobar now. Because on Illmatic, he had the stories about the stuff that was going on in the hood, but now he's saying, I'm this guy. Madman Insanity is going like an hourglass, gun inside my bad hand, I slice trying to bag grams. I'm like, because Nas always goes back and forth. Am I the Big Willie? Am I the Koofy wearer? Which one am I? You know what I'm saying? So here's the birth of Nas Escobar. And man, I thought his verse, he killed it. Now, Raekwon's verse. Now check this out. Now I'm gonna just say this. I love Raekwon. I love Wu-Tang. This was the first. I think this might have been Ray's best verse to date. Because think about it. If you let me say this. Let me say this. Remember what me and Killer B said, Kev? On the first Wu-Tang, you didn't get the Ghostface and Ray yet. You didn't really get that yet.
Right.
So you had Raekwon on Meth vs. Chef. Then you had Raekwon on Rawhide. He really wasn't that guy yet. Now Raekwon is on Eye for an Eye. I was like, listen to this dude, man. This dude, hey, that's how I felt. Like this, for me, that was my favorite Raekwon verse to date.
Is this the first beat he rapped on that wasn't a RZA produced song?
Probably.
This is 95.
So.
This isn't like late in the career. Like this isn't it. I wonder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, that Eye for Eye is a monster, dude. That 2-song run right there is crazy. Where was you at with it, Kel?
Man, this was my first song. I used to love this song because when Rick and I be in the car and I'd be like, man, you better play that shit. And then now, and then he'd be like, man, I don't even like that song. He's like, the only reason I'm listening to it is because you in the car. And now when I think my part of it is that when I listen to it now, that hi-hat or whatever that is going on through the whole album on the production side, I think this is as listening to it as a middle-aged man and not a kid. I'm like, well, damn, man, ain't that about enough of that? And
I'm not tired of it yet. I'm good with it. I'm cool. I'm still cool with it. Because it's covered up. It's covered up by the sample. It's covered up. But in later songs, it's not so much.
No. It was like that. It was like the Casio keyboard that you got when you was a kid. You had the hip hop button, and you hit the hip hop button, and you just let the hip hop button play on all the songs. And as I was listening to it today, like the verses are still good. But this used to be my favorite song on the album. But now I'm just like I don't appreciate it as much as I used to. There's just other stuff I appreciate more as we talk about it.
Okay.
I like Havoc's verse on Eye for an Eye too. I like Havoc's verse.
That shit. Yeah. All right, so we on to the second interlude. Now, the first thing that comes to mind for me on this one is we got some wasted bars. We got wasted bars by P. We got wasted bars by Big Noid. Now, this is something I do remember. I used to think Big Noyd was so dope.
Yeah.
I used to think he was so dope. I was like, yo, like he need to be on more stuff. Is he in Mobb Deep? Is he not in Mobb Deep? He's just down. Like, what is it? Like, he need to be on more songs. So I do remember this interlude. But the biggest thing that stands out for me, is this is the first time I heard the word done.
Done.
Well, I still don't even know, like, for sure what the done language is. Kiko, like some of the some of this slang
Kiko?
just ain't translate to everybody. Like, the New York stuff with son and yo and all that good stuff that translate. Stuff translate, but the done language that ain't make it to Ohio. At least not to my Ohio.
That's like super New York. Like, man, I was listening to the song Mass Appeal like a couple of weeks ago. I was listening to what he was saying. And I thought to myself, like, when you got like a Biggie, a Jay-Z, yeah, they're from New York, but they had like mass appeal. They didn't talk a lot of, they're talking like Queensbridge slang. Like, hey, our corner here, this is how we talk, you know what I mean? And that kind of can like push a lot of people away. Maybe someone who's like down south, they're really not into New York rap. They be like, man, I don't really feel
or somebody that grew up in Cleveland, Ohio on Hilton Road.
Yeah, exactly.
Who could that
be? Man.
Man, I like this a lot, man. Like, this is probably wasted bars, as you said.
Wasted bars. Where's the beat? Why are you rapping over nothing?
Right, but it is so. But maybe it was the show that we rap. We can really rap, and maybe that's what it was saying. But I remember, man, I was a Noyd guy, man. Remember they used to put him on all albums, and then he dropped that solo project, and you were like, "This is awful.
You need more help."
Yeah.
Well, let me ask a question here. What is it about some of these Queensbridge guys who have these big names, but they never really did, but like Big Noyd, Carmega, Jungle, like these guys, man. Man, these dudes have been infamous within their crews, man. But yeah,
they good for a 16, man. It's like me and Kelz was saying before, man. Dudes be good for a 16, but you got to be very talented to write an entire song.
Write a song.
Shit. I think I'm more talented you got to be to make an album. 12 tracks, at least 12 songs.
Yeah, it's kind of like the St. Lunatics. Very good on Air Force One, but if you go and look at everything they doing, you like, man, this is bad. Like, I think that whole Nelly crew was bad, but they had good crew songs.
Yeah, for sure.
Only crew that really put out albums was the Hit Squad. If you really like, that was the first crew. Good. Everybody put out albums and they had listenable to content.
Yeah, you're right.
That's probably fair. That's probably fair. So then that goes into Give Up the Goods featuring Noyd on there. I mean, first beat produced on there by Q-Tip, and I can hear the difference in it. Still got the same snare.
Yeah.
But for me, that song has like that classic hip hop cipher. Like I could just picture them in Queensbridge around a trash can that's on fire, just rapping. I could just picture them doing that with this song right there.
I would say this about that song. I like this song. It has, like you said, the same snare. It has a slightly different sound, but it keeps the same Mobb Deep feel. And I was like, wow, that's a great job by Q-Tip for staying in his lane with them. You know what I mean? Because all those Q-Tip songs, if you ask me, I would think they were just Havoc productions because it kind of sounds on the same like production level. So yeah,
that's fair.
This was always one of my favorite songs. It still is. Like, this is now my favorite song on here. This used to be
Big Noyd coming through in the clutch.
Yeah, this was on my CD or tape at the time that I would have when I would listen before games. this was one of the songs, one of my hype songs, I guess. Like, it was it was one of those good songs, man. It had good the production was good. The bars was good. Noid showed up. It was always good to me. Like it still had a lot of done in it, but but it was good.
Was he originally part of Mobb Deep? Or
Man, nothing I could find on the wiki says that. He just part of the crew. From everything I saw. So then we on to Temperatures Rising. Another Q-Tip beat. For me, this shit is super dated. This says 1995 like no other. Who's the lady singing on here?
Cheryl Fake Mary J. Blige. Name, let me see here. It's I just found it right here. Crystal Johnson.
Crystal Johnson.
Trying to take the Mary J. Blige lane because she was the person who you really heard like think that the meth song with You're All I Need that from the Mary J. and Meth song. I felt like it was kind of like they was trying to do kind of like the same thing.
Okay.
But
I remember the song. I remember the video too, to be honest. I didn't like the song then, and I definitely don't like it now. It's the first time on here that I feel like, all right, this song is dated. It's a dated song. It feels like it's back in the mid 90s for me.
I give this song actually. I gave it a thumbs up, man. I'm because I saw Havoc talk about it. His brother was actually wanted for a body, so they used to have to like hide him out and stuff. So actually, it was a true story. What I realized throughout this CD, maybe I'll say for the last part, but is the stories that they told. There's a lot of stories in this CD. I didn't really realize that early in the 90s. But this was a true story, he said.
Okay. So, all right, this is part of the album where we get a little choppy, in my opinion. We go from Temperatures Rising to Up North Trip.
Up North.
Look,
this is what I wrote. That's what I wrote.
Hey,
that block I was talking about. This is really bad right here, man. It was like maybe this album should have been 40 minutes instead of the hour and 7 minutes.
That's all I got because I would listen to this album when we would go for our walks around the neighborhood. So it would take about a whole hour to listen to as we walk it. So I would get the whole thing in and I would listen to the song and I would want to skip so bad. But I tell myself, you will not skip a song. You will listen to every single song. And what I try to do is at least listen to it twice before I start writing notes. And then on my third time, I pretty know what I'm going to say. So then when I write my notes later after I listen to it for the third time, and this song right here, boy, I got nothing. I was
call it spade a spade. It's fucking awful. This is horrible, man. This shit is just it's just bad. It's very New York, bad production.
Yeah.
I would love to hear from a New York person about this song that like grew up in the era and everything like that, because I don't see anybody liking this song. Like, I just don't. Like, you can have these type of records, but they just like, and this is also where conveniently enough, the snare stands out the most to me. Like, all right, I'm fucking over it, bro. Before you were hiding it with dope lyrics and dope samples and you taking me there, but this one, the snare is killing me. I don't like it. And Trife Life, moving on to the next track, Trife Life, it's a little bit better, but not much better to me. It's a decent story in there.
Yeah, it's a good story I put down.
But for the most part, it's borderline skippable. Like if I wasn't doing this, I would have skipped it.
You know what though? The next song is only worse in my opinion. But it's just going, man. It's kind of like you're going on a trip and just bad things start happening. So you lose your radio station. Then you notice you're running out of gas. Now you notice I got a slow leak. And that's all this right here. It's just one bad thing after another bad thing. Man, it's bad, man. It's just all this stuff is just it's blocked.
Yeah.
I think at this point of the CD, you kind of want to hear a little different subject matter. It ain't changing. It ain't changing. It ain't changing at all, man.
And so then you go from that to Hectic, which is, in my opinion, a much better song than those last three we got. It has, to me, Onyx vibes. It's a more high impact song, and I'm not 100% sure. Excuse me, but I believe it has that same Shook Ones sample in it.
It might, man.
He said all this shit sound the same. I'm about to try to listen to it. I'm about to try to find it real quick.
I got it up if you need.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm almost positive as that same, like that screeching sound. Like maybe it's not a sample, it's just a sound effect that they're using.
And then they do the dumb talking at the beginning if you don't want
and if you pussy, the motherfucker get it when you fit it. As I walk around the streets, then I got mad.
It is honesty though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, I don't want to get a copy.
Song, man.
It's way better. It's way better than Temperature Rise and the North Trip Tribe Life. It's way better.
Yeah.
But now we picking things back up. Right back at you.
No, we're not back up.
Not for me. Not for me.
Really?
Not for me, man.
I didn't even know who the fuck Ghostface Killer was at this point. You know what's funny? This is a confession. This is the first time I listened to this song. It was in 2020. I had never listened to it. It was fast forward from the jump, man. It was not anything I wanted to hear. The beat is I think Hunt is right. I think you get caught into the subject matter, and the subject matter is the same of the same of the same with the hi-hat, and then you don't realize. But think if you're on a car trip or whatever you're doing, and you're just listening, you don't think about it, and you just get fit and you kind of go it. If you think about the Mobb Deep CDs, they're all like this. They start off very strong, and they get middle is just, hey man, let's go do some. We got more songs to write, and then they got this filler, and then on the back end it gets good again. But if you listen to what I call the 3 Mobb Deep CDs, it's all the same. Very good in the beginning, very black in the middle, gets good at the end.
That's fair.
Man,
so why wasn't y'all feeling this Rain Ghost feature?
Well, for me on this one, Ghost and Ray are going back like Run DMC, like you know what I'm saying? They're like he say a line and he come in and finish the lines. Like, come on, man. Like, I didn't really. It sounds kind of sloppy when they came in. Like, it just wasn't. It didn't sound like clean, but I did see that they said that this kind of was like what made them think about doing the Purple Tape. So it was this song. And Havoc said this collaboration, like Kelly said earlier, came from because them being on Loud, they would be doing production a lot. I mean, promotions with Wu-Tang a lot, so they was hanging out a lot. And he said they clicked more so with Ghost and Ray. So they was like, hey man, just come do this feature with me. That's like cool, but I don't like this song. No, I don't, man. Yeah.
So just so I'm clear, we on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-song run that
Yeah.
5-song run. What 5-song run? In my opinion, it stopped at this song, but that's cool. But a 5-song run that we as a collective.
I liked it hectic. I liked it hectic.
I like hectic. I don't dislike it.
It's blah though. It's not memorable.
It's alright. It's alright. But I mean, what couldn't be alright after those last 3 songs before that, bro? Like, that up north trip. That is. Oh boy.
If these songs right here were, I don't know, the analogy of a lady walking by. You're not following when they go by. You're just like, okay. It's not something that when you hear it, you're like, oh, let me go with this. These are songs that if they go by you, you say, okay. It's not anything that you have a lot of interest in.
There's no desire to hear it again. Yeah, like I always say this. Back in the day, you buy a tape or a CD, you leave work, you say, man, I can't wait to pop this song in, man. It's not much of that on this CD for me, man. Yeah.
Okay. So we got the interlude to Cradle to the Grave.
Not on son, I just got hit. Like, jeez.
I've never heard this song before. Listen to this, and that interlude going into it, man, it just made me think about like Nas on it. It was written one of his interludes, and and like, yo, it's the same shit, and I don't like it on the Nas album, so I double don't like it on this album. Like the say what?
Nas still owns the worst and most awkward
interlude.
Yeah, that thing is awful. What's up, Nas? Come on, man. It's so bad, and it's awful. There's another point I want to bring up about guys writing a rhyme together and finishing up the verses. There's a few guys that do that successfully. I say the best at it is gotta be Jada and Styles P.
Okay.
Like think of like we gonna make it and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. Yeah.
They can write a song together and it just sounds natural. That other stuff doesn't sound natural.
Yeah, I agree.
So how was y'all feeling Cradle to the Grave?
Dead.
I really didn't feel it, man.
We are on a 6-song run. A 6-song run, just to be, well, I mean, as a collective, because we differ on, me and Hunt can rock with Hectic a little bit. Yeah, y'all not rocking with right back at you at all. I am. So overall, I mean, we're on a 6-song run that is just like a little shaky. So, and for me, it's about to be 7 because this song is terrible too.
It is, man. It is.
This song is terrible, Kel.
The way to pain.
This is terrible. Worst song on the album.
No, it's not. I object.
Please, I want to hear this.
I listened to that song plenty of times. I was like, oh, Q-Tip, man. Come on, man. Like, and he produced it, right? Yeah, he produced it.
I want to hear Five Dog on that beat, not them niggas.
That's a song I still like. That was a song I've always liked, man. I cannot believe you guys are committing blasphemy.
Each verse is dope because he takes the concept and runs with it.
Yes.
But Tip verse is whack. The beat whack.
You don't like it?
Verse is whack.
I love Tip's verse with the clothes, with all the clothing lines. I thought that was so great, man. You really didn't like both.
I would say back in the 90s, you can say yeah, but when you look at it now, you're like, it's kind of corny. But yeah.
You guys really think that was corny, man? And now you're making me want to pull it up, man.
Hey, man.
Somebody do this if you got your guys' phone. I want to
Yeah.
not right now, but at the end when you sum this up, Kev. What mic did this give? Did they get 4 or 5 mic? Bring
I
it up
can
at
look.
the end. We'll discuss this. Yeah.
I looked it up, man. This was considered the second best rap album of the year, next to Cuban Links. Cuban Links being first, and this being the second.
Okay.
The article
Totally,
I read today.
totally East Coast bias. Not,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Cuban Link is one of my favorite albums of all time. But this is not better than Dog Food. It's not better than On Top of the World for sure. It's not better than Me Against the World. I know you're gonna disagree, Kel, but Bone Eternal is a fucking classic, and
No,
we're
it's
gonna.
not, man. It's a
Bone
lot
I
of.
like Eternal. I like it, man. I like Eternal 99. There's some good songs on there, man.
Oh, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go smoke some cat food when we're done with it.
that was on. Was that on Eternal?
Yes.
I
No,
thought
that was on the EP. That was on the EP.
That's on Creep on the Come Up.
No,
Yeah.
no. We're creeping, we
Stuck in-
came. I'm talking about we creeping, we came.
No, I'm talking about Eternal.
Let's get back to the MOBB.
Yeah.
Man.
MOBB.
Yeah. Tommy Hill was my nigga. The others couldn't figure how he had been. Oh man, that was good. That was good, man. They had to go down the Avenue, pick up the Brinks. It was good storytelling.
So moving on.
Carl Canal was a shady dude. Remember?
Yeah.
Walker was the smoothest talker. She negotiated the deal. It was like it was a bad, I got a story to tell. Not a bad, but a lesser.
Whoa.
Man, that's a heck of a comparison, Kel.
Yeah,
I don't know about that
Story
one,
to Tell
man.
is like top 5 story raps of all time.
I really like that song, man.
Fair enough. Now, to one of the songs that gets brought up in hip hop history. If you going to back in the days, if you was going to Lyricist Lounge, you going to see some dudes rap at the Union or wherever in town, they're playing this beat. Shook One's Part 2. The first time we got the real introduction to Mobb Deep, we talked about it a little bit earlier with the video, the camcorder style, them the beat using the old school stove. You hear the ticking in there, and the sample is crazy. The introduction of Hennessy, like I've never heard of Hennessy until then. Like I thought it was a team jersey they had on. I was like, who is Hennessy? Who they play for? What team is that? And my brother's like, you just don't know shit.
I think that probably that was the one thing about that song, man. I didn't like it in the beginning. I like it a lot now. And the thing is, I know what that song gave to Hunt. That gave him his drink. Because remember, he was the Incredible Hulk drinker. That have Hennessy. And,
hypnotic.
Yeah, hypnotic. And then you got the green drink.
So here's what this song does for me, man. Like, remember 1995 Funkmaster Flex freestyle CD?
Mm-hmm.
I heard them freestyle this on there first. I don't know which one came out first. I heard him. Pit Prodigy freestyles his whole beat of a Wu-Tang Ain't Nothing to Fuck With. So I heard this first, and then I heard the CD. I'm like, well, duh, that's supposed to be a freestyle. Look who's here.
What?
Look who's here. But let me finish this thought. That was supposed to be a freestyle. So, like 50 Cent would say, hey, man, Flex. He would say to Funkmaster Flex, man, I hate when the freestyle be on the album, man. Yeah. I was like, well, dang. So it kind of killed the song for me. But obviously,
he got on the infamous MOBB.
MOBB.
MOBB. You know, the thing I really liked about it, though, man, it was that it's funny how I can listen to something now and appreciate it, and I just wasn't into it 20 years ago. and it's really it. And I don't know what's happened with my taste, and I don't mind that hi-hat that goes on throughout the whole song. But that song, man, I like it now. Like I wish I would have appreciated it. I hate that I appreciate it now and didn't appreciate it then.
Fair enough. So we man, we just read. Oh no, we got one more. Party's Over. Last song on the album. Really could have ended with Shook Ones, in my opinion. I think that would have been the capper. It's not a bad song. I don't think it's a bad song. I just think like for a song that was the lead single to be so late on the album too. I don't think I've ever seen that. The lead single basically be the last song on the album. I just think like you really got what you came for. You bought this CD because of this song right here, Shook Ones Part 2, and then you end it with another song. For me, after I heard Shook Ones, I really wasn't in the mood to listen anymore, to be perfectly honest.
Was there a Shook Ones Part 1? Because I never.
Yeah, I heard it.
Is it on that first CD?
It's I mean, they've re-released Infamous so many times. I think it's on the 25th anniversary.
I just saw
of it.
Okay.
I'm saying it's not on Juvenile Hell.
No, it was they did Shook Ones as a promo single, and then they redid it with the new beat and new lyrics for Part 2. So I want to say it's on this
yeah, it's on the 25th anniversary. I just pulled it up. They have it on there, but the interesting thing is that it is only an instrumental. Shook Ones
really?
Part 1.
I mean, I'm sure it's on YouTube, so we can find it. I can send it to y'all if y'all really want to hear it. But we just ran through the whole album, man. We know your personal feelings about Mobb, not only Mobb Deep, but this album in general. So in 1995, were you away at school yet by then? Or you
I disagree with y'all knowing my whole feelings about this album.
Well, break it down.
So what at this current juncture. So kind of like Kelly said, I have come to appreciate something that I didn't appreciate back then.
What?
Now, it ain't something that I'm just gonna throw in and just listen to like when I'm driving to the office. I mean, the last 2 weeks when you politely asked me to join this conversation, and I'm gonna tell you a story. When I started to appreciate it, before I go back to the college days and talk about my disdain for it, it was about 2011. I remember calling Big Sean or whatever. It was whether it was Borders or what bookstore it was. More through, you know what I'm saying? That was my thing. I walk through the bookstores or whatever, find some books. I see the Prodigy book. my infamous line. So I see it. So I'm like, oh boy, let me see this sarcastic. Pick it up. You know what I'm saying? And I read through it. The back of it. The back page. I read like a couple of pages and actually I was intrigued and everything about this book. You know what I'm saying? I remember calling her like, listen, man, I'm like, what this Mobb Deep book, man. This is like some of these stories that this dude is telling got me like.
You can't make it up, man. You can't make them stories.
I'm gonna put it on my read list, man. I'm gonna put it on my
read it too. I'm gonna read it too.
You'll read it in 2 days.
I got the hardback copy, baby. I still got like.
I'm gonna get on Amazon right now.
I read it. I let Hunt borrow it. I was like, "You gotta read this book, man."
Yeah, hey, man. It was an easy read. It was interesting. That's all I gotta say.
What's it called?
Interesting.
My Infamous Life. I got it. I've had it for a minute. I still haven't read it though.
Right. You probably stole my book, bro.
No, I got a paperback.
I still got yours. Maine, in my basement. I know where it's at.
I found it enjoyable, man, and that allowed me to go back and say, okay, let me listen to Infamous and some of these other songs or whatever, and see if I didn't give it a fair shot that first go round. Okay, so back then, y'all know me, like I was strictly and everything, Dog Pound for life, Snoop. That was what I rolled with. and Bone Thugs and Harmony. I did the Compton's Most Wanted, so you know where I was at. Okay, so I'm away at college. Shout out to Durrell the Squirrels. Durrell and this dude from Cincy named Gabe tried to hit me to Mobb Deep. I wasn't having it. Period. From the start, like, yo, son, trying to catch these roofs, son. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm sitting there like,
they really get into that roof talk on Hell on Earth.
Right. Right. And it's Durrell the Squirrel, like, I love him to death. Durrell the Squirrel ain't go to class, man. He watching Yo MTV Raps in Rap City all day long. When they come on in the morning, then it's that break. He watching back to back. I don't know what he did for that break. Then they come back on like in the mid-afternoon, like when people get home from school. It was on back to back to back.
Yeah.
Like he watched all the episodes for that day. And I remember, like, when sometimes seeing some of their videos, I was like, "Oh my God, this is whack. This is God. This is God." And when I felt like because didn't they diss Bone back in the day or whatever too?
Yeah.
On that intermission.
Right. So, I took it personal, ignorantly. I ain't never met Bone in my life, but I took it personal. I'm from Cleveland. Like,
I just ordered the paperback on Amazon. I have it tomorrow. $13.99.
Listen, that was a quality read. So you know what? I went back. So you know what? 90s, none of that. I wasn't having none of that. And when y'all, what CD did y'all have me go buy?
Murder Music. Murder Music.
I bought Murder Music from Record Exchange, and I still feel the same way about
$5, cheap bastard.
Some me money for that CD.
But I gave you Lauryn Hill, so we even.
Hey, let's not drift away from the top. But now sticking to Infamous. Infamous, it is tolerable for me now and everything to listen to. Now back then, obviously my thoughts on it, I shared with you guys or whatever. But to me, it had the same 4 beats. I don't know what y'all talked about, but I felt like this CD got the same. Not even it had like it was one time I'm talking to Honey got the same 4 beats on it. Same 4 beats throughout this CD, just changed up a little bit.
It's the snare or hi-hat.
I listened to it again, and I disagree if it's the same 4 beats. It's the same 3.5 beats on that CD.
Hey, we all came to the conclusion, man. It's the way that snare or hi-hat hit. It hits the same way on every song, from a Q-Tip song to a Havoc song.
Now
and I think it's the same beat per minute. You got to think
about technology back then. They probably got the whole, the little beat machine from Sam Goody or Radio Shack or something like that, and they making the beat. So that's all I got to say about that part.
But it's interesting you mentioned it though. Hold
on. I didn't even get to the other part that used to bother me. I called them chant rappers back in the day. They always chant. Strong to bind, mother man.
The 5 of the fifth only the strong to bind.
So man, look, man, real quick. I brought this point up earlier. I said there was this transition, like from like a Public Enemy or a Countess Most Wanted on the chorus. There was something going on, whether you're scratching or something.
Right.
But from Wu-Tang and they solidified it. You kind of just chant the chorus, like that. That's what happened. Like,
and something else I noticed on there. There's no bridge. There's no breakdowns. It's the beat. The beat is the beat. Even where the hook goes, where they do their chant / hook, there's no break in the beat. It's the same beat. The only thing you'll get is the beat will drop out when the second verse will come on. So like that's something like we talked about them being on Loud Records and being on the independent label, them being able to allow to do their own thing. They didn't have the luxury of working with Def Jam and working with a Rick Rubin to basically, I'll say, teach them like, all right, these are the ABC of making a beat. Maybe you should do it like this. It's just all feel how it sounds. Yeah, that sounds good. Go in there, done, and kick that shit. Like that's how I envision them making the songs. And I mean, once the beat was made, just rap, nigga, do it.
Yeah, there's no, like I said, this CD is for musically, it's a little inferior to the stuff that I usually listen to. From when the beat starts on one, the starting point of the song is gonna end the same way. It's not gonna change at all throughout. But listen, I think Havoc is a pretty good producer though. I think he's a good, like, this is early in their career. When you hear their other CDs, you'll hear some musical growth, man. Like, I still think these guys are
Like on
legends.
murder music.
Yeah.
Even if, because even when you, what I was going to mention earlier is that even when you listen to Hell on Earth, you still got a little hi-hat in the beginning of that one too. And then once you transition to murder music, it was like, yeah, we gonna put this shit together and you gonna sound like a real album.
Yeah, I agree. Man, what were some of the standout songs in your opinion that you like now?
You know what? I do like Survival of the Fittest. Survival of the Fittest is a good song. Survival of the Fittest is a good song.
Tell that boy, tell Kelz, man. Tell him.
Yeah, Survival of the Fittest is a good song. Like, going back and looking at it, like, especially like when you hear like the Instagram rappers and everything of today, you go back and look at this, like, this a young project, a raw, gritty project for them. And like, I didn't appreciate it and everything back then. Probably, to be honest, if you rewind it back to 95, I would have probably felt the same way. But later on, I now can look back and appreciate it, like, okay, that's a tight song. That's a good cut. That's a good cut. You know what I'm saying? I can go back and look, like, for myself, I'm happy that I did start to appreciate Prodigy prior to him, like, passing away. Because I did like his H&IC, so on and so forth. So by that time, everything, I got to the point where, like, okay, dudes ain't quite as bad as I perceived them and everything to be back in the day or whatever. Like, I think, like, also too, like, then I'm looking at, like, the way they dress or whatever too. Like, this fresh on the scene with they got the combat gear. You know, like, we were heel figure and polo down, so on and so forth. And I'm like, what the hell is they wearing, man? Like, and then, like,
New York style, man.
Look at this video. I'm looking at this video. It's like 15, 20 of them rolling in the video. And, like, now I look, like, one day I realized, like, how ignorant that was me. Because when we used to roll to the movies or whatever, $1.50 movie, dude, we did the same thing. So for me to look back, that is pure hypocrisy for me to look back and say, like, I was hating on them. But it's 24, 30 of these dudes rolling into the mall together when we used to do the same thing.
And yeah, man, yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead,
it's 100% what he's saying is that I get where think rap was territorial, so people don't get into it because of the territory. And like I said, my brother lived in Jersey at the time, still does. I went to college, we had a couple New York guys on the football team and on the basketball team I hung out with. So, you know, so I've always gravitated to that stuff where I remember to me, New York broke my heart. You know what I mean? So I can get where people were just territory over their rap.
I think that's a great point that he just made, because that's where I would have been at. Like, it didn't matter. And like, it would have taken a lot for somebody to break through. Like, you look at, like, okay, you know what? Y'all know I loved Redman and everything before the whole West Coast and their East Coast beef and everything had started to come into play. So wasn't nobody coming in between me and Redman and his squad and all that stuff like that. But for these guys to have came on the scene and broke through to me at that time, nobody was getting a fair shot. It took a little bit for me to, like, give Wu-Tang a chance and everything like that. I probably ain't really give Wu-Tang a chance until the Purple Tape.
I would wholly agree. I'm with you, man. I wasn't a big Wu-Tang guy.
Came out and then forced me to go back and then have to respect Wu-Tang to a greater degree. Perpetrate still the best Wu-Tang tape, Raekwon and Ghostface. But at that time, it didn't matter who was coming out. Nobody was getting in between me and West Coast rap.
Hey, hold on, because I know Kel got he on limited time. How many mics did this CD get? Did you look it up, Kel?
yeah,
How many mics?
Good.
How many mics did it get?
Let me
I
look.
think it probably got like 4.5.
While he looking that up, man, what did you think about the 2 features from Ray on here? He on Eye for an Eye with Nas, and then he on another track with Ghost later on the album. Do you remember those 2?
Yeah, I'm looking like I saw that, so I'm just kind of like I said. I'm sorry I missed some of the what y'all talked about earlier, but like I'm looking like I like. You asked me earlier. I like Shook Ones. I think you already knew I like Shook Ones or whatever. I liked the Up North trip. I did like Up North trip.
Oh.
You the only one.
Now,
Yeah,
I don't know why.
really.
I don't know why I liked it. I think it's just something that grew on me or whatever. But I did like that for some reason or whatever. Or maybe it was one of them things where I needed to make amends for all the years of hating on him. Maybe that's what it was. But
Pick the hell of a song to like.
I just sent you guys the original source review.
Okay.
It was you guys ready?
Go for
How
it.
many? I'm gonna say 4.5 they gave it.
4.5 mics.
Damn.
Figured that.
That's
Yeah.
a tad. I mean, that's a tad high. I don't know, man.
The Chronic got 4.5 too. I just want to let you know that.
What were they only gave like 2 5 mics. One was
Yeah, it was like Illmatic and like
one.
I think De La Soul was dead. Brand Nubian. Brand Nubian's first one.
What?
Yeah.
That got 5 mics?
Yep.
Must have been some payola going on there, but
Kev, it would be a great show to review those mics.
Yeah,
Take some mics and review them.
Yeah, that's gonna be a play. Like I told y'all before, man, we gonna do that. We gonna do the Death of the Remix. So we have some B-side rewinds as well, not just full album joints. Shoot, man, I appreciate y'all jumping on, even the late nigga.
Hold on. All right, so hold on a second. You asked me a question. So right back, you talking about this Ghostface Killer and Raekwon and Big Noise. I did like that song. Right back at you.
Yeah. We're in there.
Me and Kel didn't like that song.
No, man.
But this right here, the chant rap, I did not like the one with Nas on it.
I told you.
I did not like that one.
I like that, man. That might be my favorite on there.
That shit hard. Spit on there, done.
Listen, what you gotta realize is just because somebody spit, I never said that he didn't spit. I never said that. Like some of them, they didn't have some rhymes on here. I just didn't like it. And probably I took it personal because I felt like at the time too, like it was trying to be forced upon me as well too. It was trying to be forced on, like, somebody trying to break me out of my comfort zone of both morning and Snoop and everything. But
if my memory serves me is correct, you were a Main Source dude, right?
That's Durl the Squirrel.
Okay, fair enough.
Barbecue, right?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like,
man, that's a good CD though. That's all right. CD.
I like Live at the Barbecue. I like Live at the Barbecue. Main Source got some good songs. I've never had a Main Source tape, but CD.
I'm gonna check at Mommy House next time I go
home. Breaking Adams.
Hey, you sure you didn't have Breaking Adams, man?
I had Breaking Adams.
I don't know.
Oh, God.
No, I forgot. He was a member of G Unit. I forgot.
I had a couple of G units.
Man, he was G Unit everything.
Listen, man.
Copy. That's a good song right there, man. Hey, man, fellas, I appreciate y'all jumping on, man. I know Kelz,
All right, man.
got moves to make. Shoot, once again, normally I like to do things organically, not asking people to share 5 stars and all that type of stuff. But like that is how the podcast grows, by people sharing and 5-starring and everything like that. So if you rock with the podcast, go ahead and do those type of things, man. Once again, appreciate Big Hunt for stopping on his 3rd appearance.
Oh,
Kelz, number 2, Maine, 1.5.
Listen, 1
1.25.
1 and 116. I wouldn't even give myself a quarter. 1 and 116. I just listen. Now you already know where I'm trying. I want that Death of the Remix. I need to be on Death of the Remix, whatever.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a Kelz, Maine, Tupac, Me Against the World pod. Oh, believe it, it's going down.
So be it. I look forward to that. I look forward to the Fat Mac and MJ fucking G, all that.
Yeah. Yes.
We're gonna get to it.
You already know. You already got my listen, man. Now don't call me or message me about 8 Ball to Fat Mac if my guy ain't on.
I got you, man. I got you. Easy money.
Hey, what guy ain't on it? Who ain't on it?
My dude that got me hip to 8 Ball and MJG.
I'm gonna have Big Hunt. I'm gonna have Maine. I'm gonna have Duck on there for the 8 Ball and MJG. I'm working on some more things, man. We're working on it. So once again, appreciate y'all. And this joint comes out on Wednesday. All right, y'all. Peace.
All right.
All right.